Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive. Ruben and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X-books is their mission, so get ready for the Learned Edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind.
Welcome all you weirdos, movie buffs, and all billion European consciousnesses traveling through space looking for new hosts. It is time to receive your 157th Weird Dose of X, the mutant member of your Weird Science podcast family. I am your mid-level arsehole host, Jason, broadcasting as always from the Wrong Turn studio perched high atop stately Weird Science Manor. And with me is the Siskel to my Ebert, or maybe the Ebert to my Siskel. Either way, it's my pal Ruben. Hey, Ruben, how the heck are you?
Doing great. Happy Monday.
Oh, I got my stupid speaker going off again.
I should have warned you to turn it off.
I have a note to myself to turn off all my smart devices who can't tell the difference between the word Ruben and the word Google, which I'm sure your parents never considered, right? When you're thinking of baby names, you're not thinking, oh, well, will this get confused by a smart speaker? No one thought about that. These days, people probably do, right? No one's calling their kid Alexa these days, right? That is just as a name that has got to have just gone away.
Yeah.
But
I was at a buddy's house this morning. I'm on a new AI-inspired athletic kick.
Okay.
Which is kind of ridiculous, but
I don't know how those words connect, but go ahead.
Yeah. I get let me rewind a little bit. So, and my wife says this is not what happened, but this is totally what happened. So we were up in Bellingham, and her parents were looking at a photo of us when we were younger. And basically, we're like, "Wow, your husband's put on a little weight." That's the nice way to say it. They're talking shit, basically, but in Vietnamese, and she translated it later. So I was like, "Oh man, I don't need my in-laws."
That somehow makes it worse to have to be translated for you when you're being insulted.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was like, okay, it's true, right? I put on some weight since we have kids, right? It's the dad bod thing. So I decided, I'm going to get a little stronger. So I've set a goal to do pull-ups, which I've never been able to do in my life. That's sort of step one. I've run a marathon, but I've never done pull-ups. So, and then I use, I'm a total AI obsessed person, understanding hallucinations and everything else, but I still kind of believe in the technology and like to try out new things to see what its limits are.
It can be useful for sure.
Yeah. So I've been using ChatGPT to kind of come up with an 18-week, couch to pull up kind of routine. And so I've been doing that. So this is start of week 2, but I mentioned it to one of my buddies who's a surgeon. He's super ripped and a big, strong guy, and he's got a home gym and everything. And so he was like, oh yeah, I get up at 5:30. And this is why I'm not an athlete. I can't do the wake up and do early stuff. So I got my ass out of bed at 4:45 and went to his house, and we were in his home gym and kind of doing some stuff. Some reverse pull-ups and all that kind of stuff. It's super boring. But anyways, so I'm kicking it, doing it, and we'll see how it goes. And I hope that the idea of this, saying, oh, you can get to a pull-up in 18 weeks is not a hallucination. But I will keep you posted on that.
Yeah,
he has
good luck on that.
Yeah, he has a super cool setup where he uses his, what's the Apple assistant? I can't remember. Siri, right?
Right. I'm not going to say her name anymore because we're setting everyone's devices off.
I'm going to say all of them to see which ones you've got on. Yes. He uses it in his home gym for timers, right? For his weightlifting and kind of things like that. I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. So he just yells out, hey Siri, set a 2-minute timer, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So hilarious. So I've got my iPad open and it just set a 2-minute timer on it.
There you go. Well, that was our AI/fitness corner, which is our new feature, apparently.
Yeah.
But now that we've gotten that aside, the books we're going to talk about this week are Uncanny X-Men number 17 And that's really it. I mean, sure,
You
we're
want
going
to
to
talk about the webcomic?
the Infinity comic, we're going to talk about it a little bit. But as far as main comics, we've already dropped Laura Kinney. They came out this week. We've dropped Magic. And folks, if you're enjoying them, fantastic. You can read them yourself. Tell us about them if you'd like. But we're not going to talk about them.
My mood was was significantly improved by not reading that.
Oh,
and then
good
it
for
was
you.
like crashed.
Was that part of your AI fitness system where it said stop reading Laura Kinney Wolverine?
Stop reading books that make you sad. No, I watched Squid Game season 3, the finale, and that like super good series. I thought it was like awesome, and I think like they've always said like zombie stuff is a take on capitalism. I just never really saw that quite so clearly. Mm-hmm. But Squid Game, I could see like the parallels and kind of the outcome, and there's like a meta critique that was like there, but not like too heavy handed.
I watched the first couple episodes of the first season, and I felt like, yeah, I get it. I kind of stopped. But speaking of zombies, there's an anime new this season called Night of the Living Cat. And it's basically a zombie movie. All the tropes, the people running scared, the zombies trying to get in the door. Yeah. But they're all cute little kitty cats. Not like zombie cats, but like cute cats. And if they catch you and they nuzzle up against you, you turn into a cat. Yeah. Highly recommend it. But anyway, boy, we're going off topic all over the place this morning. That's all right.
Well, it's a good series, and I needed like something to pick up my mood because it's a kind of a bleak thing. I heard that Gray is like starting to watch it slowly, so there goes my
There's your timer going off. I heard that. That's funny. That was 2 minutes. All right. So if you started your workout when Ruben said that, you have now done 2 minutes of your workout. But what we are going to talk about today, after going through the news and the Infinity comic Uncanny, we're going to catch up on the Power Fantasy, which is my favorite currently ongoing comic, and it's almost but not quite an X-Men book. Kieran Gill and our old pal who did a lot of X-Men stuff, and clearly some of the character and situation are inspired. It's reached issue 10, the end of the second arc, second trade paperback. We're going to talk about that a little bit too.
I kind of feel like maybe the arcs are set for, that's what I thought initially, but I kind of have a feeling it's more like issues 1 through 12 is like the first 2 arcs, because in one of the early issues, they had like an outline of, oh, this happens. It's like, see this issue, see that issue. And even it might have been issue number 2. And I think issue 12 was like the furthest out that they had.
Yeah, I think basically we've gotten to the end of, I think everything that has been mentioned in that has pretty much we've gotten to in the book through issue 10. So we'll get to that when we get to the Power Fantasy. But first, we should talk some X-Men stuff. I mean, it's in the title of the podcast and everything. There's been some fairly major news this week. I mean, if PR releases about comic books can be called major news.
Yes.
It's like 2 weeks ago, we told you there would be a major X-Men crossover event coming in October. Last week, we were able to tell you that the crossover will be called Age of Revelation. And this week, we can tell you a bit more. I'm just going to read this paragraph from the press release. Age of Revelation takes current X-Men storytelling 10 years into the future, or X years if you prefer. After being welcomed onto Cyclops' X-Men with open arms, so spoilers for X-Men number 22, I guess, Revelation set out on the impossible task that Apocalypse entrusted him with, creating a world where only the fittest survived. With his linguistic mutant power amplified to an astonishing new level, Doug commands Earth itself with his voice, reshaping it as a utopian haven for mutant kind. It's a mutant homeland built on an insidious lie, spreading across the planet and wiping out humanity until it becomes a mutant homeworld. So, really what this is the 30th anniversary of Age of Apocalypse, and they're kind of just doing it again, it sounds like?
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Now, for folks who have read Age of Apocalypse, either, in real time when it came out or since then, you know that for the 4-month duration of the event, all of the existing X titles were replaced by brand new ones, still written, I think, drawn by the same team, but reflecting how reality had changed when David went back in time and accidentally murdered his father to death. And if you notice, a lot of books are bringing their long-running arcs to a close. There's like one-off, two-off kind of stories being told. And I think this is why. I think this was always the plan, and all the writers knew, we don't want things left hanging for however long this event goes on.
Yeah.
And we got a graphic from Marvel showing 16 new titles. Now, we don't have 16 currently ongoing books, so some of these are going to have to be brand new, but I think a lot of them are going to be taking over from the existing titles. What do you think? Do you think it's going to last 4 whole months like Age of Apocalypse, or or is that too much for Marvel? Are they going to try to cut it shorter?
I actually thought it would, because I thought, they would overdo this. But I don't know. Maybe they just do 3 months. It just feels like if you're going to have that many issues, I would assume that each little sub issue is got a mini story built into it. It'd be surprising to me. It was like, oh, here's the one shot. Just all these vignettes of what's Spider-Man doing in the Age of Revolution. Every time they do these things, it feels like they get 4 issue arcs.
There are 16 titles. I don't imagine they're going to do 16 times 4, 64 issues for this event. That seems like overkill. But
that's why I thought maybe 3. But I don't know, maybe even just 2. But it feels like they're going to do a decent number. I would be surprised if this series is not in total at least 24 to 48 issues.
Probably. And we're recording Monday morning / early afternoon. So folks, as you're listening, dramatic irony, you may know a whole lot more than we do about what's actually happened. Marvel loves to announce things right after we record. So the way this graphic is set up, showing the 16 titles, on one side it says X years from today, and 8 titles are underneath that. And on the other side it says The Age of Revelation, 8 titles underneath that. Are we supposed to take this as 2 different groupings, 2 separate time frames maybe, or am I reading too much into the graphic design? What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into it. Let's just
wait.
You think
those are just 2 phrases they're attaching to this event, and there's just 16 titles?
Yeah.
Just it looks like it's being set up to say we've got the sheep over here, we got the goats over there. They look like separate things.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's interesting.
Again,
I didn't even look at that. Is this interesting? So you're thinking this might be Rise and House?
Yeah, could be something like that. Yeah, that's a good example. But again, I could totally be just reading way too much into this. But we'll find out soon enough. So let's talk about these titles.
I just struggle because they both seem like they're set in the future.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe 10 years from today when the age gets started versus far in the future when things have progressed more.
That could make sense.
Maybe.
Yeah, what's the outcome?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So these titles, we'll start with the titles underneath X years from today, which in my made-up idea would be the relatively near future.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Amazing X-Men. And based on the way the graphic looks and the logo, this is going to be the McKay X-Men book replacement. We've got Unbreakable X-Men, which will probably be Uncanny. Next, we have a book that's just called Binary. Now, that's a name associated with Carol Danvers' Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
From the logo, I'm going to guess maybe this is the Phoenix book. Looks kind of Phoenix-y to me. It's got wings and such.
With the wings, yeah. It's probably a combo of both, because we have some stories that seem to be non-X people being involved. So I wouldn't be surprised if you have Carol Danvers in it. Because I feel like that symbol in the A, it definitely looks like a Miss Marvel. That
kind of 8-pointed star there. It looks like a Carol Danvers Ms. Marvel kind of a look to it.
And binary means 2, right? Maybe you get some kind of funky thing where
could be,
she's switching between Phoenix and Carol Danvers. Maybe they got merged somehow.
That's a Marvel. I mean, that's been a Captain Marvel thing back, since the old Captain Marvel, that they switch back and forth. So that's a good guess. Yeah. I like it. Now we have a book called Cloak or Dagger. So that's an interesting title. The or plus Cloak and Dagger. They pop up at events sometimes, right? They were in Blood Hunt that McKay did in Avengers. Mostly, I still think of them when they popped up in Uncanny Spider-Man at the end of Krakoa. But kind of different titles or characters, and I don't think this will be replacing a title. This feels like it'll be a new separate book. I'm curious to see who the writer's going to be.
Yeah, they're so desperate to get Cloak and Dagger to be a thing. I felt like it was in the 90s, it was an actual series that was sustainable, but certainly one of those pairings has kind of fallen off.
Yeah, and they've messed with those characters a lot, changed their origins. Are they mutants? Are they not mutants? I think at the moment they've said not, but I'm still confused. Speaking of confusing characters, the next title is Long Shots with an S. Yeah. Now, you were just saying last week, if I recall, Ruben, that Long Shot is one of your favorite characters. You must have been pretty stoked to see this.
I am excited. I like the character. I mean, this has got to be a Mojoverse type thing, but who else is involved is the question.
Right.
I mean, you could have, Domino and Longshot. Maybe that's it, because they have the same power, roughly. Heck, and then throw in Iska, and then you've got 3 of them.
Isn't Shatterstar tied in with Longshot too? Maybe
he is, yeah, but he doesn't have the long shot
the
probability
luck
influencing
powers.
power. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll wait and see. Next, Omega Kids, which sounds like Muppet Babies or something. But my prediction, this will be Quentin Quire leading a team of like young mutants. Omega Kids.
I buy that for sure.
Which sounds like a train wreck waiting to happen with Quentin in charge, but could be an entertaining train wreck. So
yeah, it could be a very good one.
Give me some more of that. And here we have Sinister's 6. That's Sinister apostrophe S with the apostrophe being a red diamond.
Yes.
So not very subtle here. Something to do with Mr. Sinister. And another time, I really want to see who's writing this because we know some people write Mr. Sinister really well and others not so very much. So that's going to be something I'm going to definitely look for.
Yeah. I mean, on the other side, we've got a Spider-Man reference. So I actually think this is going to be Mr. Sinister plus some Spider-Man villains.
Just because of the Sinister 6 connection?
Yeah, it just seems like if they're going to throw a radioactive Spider-Man into the Age of Revelation, there's probably a Spider-Man-based element here.
Could be. I mean, Mr. Sinister doesn't generally play well with other villains.
Sure.
So, wait and see. And then finally, for this first set of 8, Undeadpool. So not Deadpool, Undeadpool. I have not been keeping up with the current Cody Ziegler Deadpool run. I'm pretty sure it's coming to an end. I think he's doing this wrap-up series called Wolverines and Deadpools. Yeah. So I don't know if this will be a Cody Ziegler thing. It'll be a whole brand new writer. What makes him undead? Again, have to wait and see. Have you been reading the Cody Ziegler Deadpool stuff at all?
No, I'm not a Deadpool fan, so I tend to skip that.
Well, we'll have to see what this is. And now we move on to the second half, the second set of 8 titles listed underneath the Age of Revelation. First one is Expatriate X-Men, which I'm going to say must be the new version of Exceptional, probably being written by E-Viewing.
Mm-hmm.
We have The Last Wolverine, and I'm going to go out on an adamantine limb and say this will take over from Wolverine. We have Iron and Frost, which sounds like a Tony Stark, Emma Frost team-up book.
Yeah.
Which we've been kind of asking for that since the end of Krakoa. We really like the two of them together.
I'm pretty excited for that one. I'm interested to see what they want to say about that, and I kind of like that it's continuing. So,
do we think that Jerry Duggan will be writing this? He's really the only one who's written about their relationship.
Yeah, and I mean, she's been mentioned a few times in the West Coast Avengers series. Okay. With Iron Man that he's writing. So, more in the sense of like him just kind of thinking back fondly to that time, and people kind of giving him a little slack or not slack, but grief about how that kind of fell apart. But
they were good together. Interesting pair of characters.
Yep.
I'm definitely not a shipper. I'm not one of those kind of people. That's not how I read comics, but I thought they were an interesting pairing just for plot reasons.
Yeah.
Okay, next, Laura Kinney Sabretooth, which will be the new Laura Kinney Wolverine book for sure, which I guess that means that Laura Kinney Wolverine's not going to be canceled before the event.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that Lansing and Kelly said that at one point they were planning on doing NY Exiles as part of this event. And because that book got canceled, they didn't get it done. So at some point, all the writers, I guess, were tied in. I don't know what the X Factor book would have been, but things change. Now we have what you referred to earlier. This is Radioactive Spider-Man. Now, we were confused by Uncanny Spider-Man that was coming out at the end of Krakoa. It turned out to be a Nightcrawler book. Yeah. So what radioactive character do you think might be like the new Spider-Man in this timeline? I think might be in it.
That's a good question. I don't know a lot of radioactive mutants other than what's the Apocalypse's son? I don't remember his name. He might be
one of War, Death, Pestilence, one of those guys, like the original.
No, the one that came from the Age of Apocalypse timeline. Holocaust, was that his name?
Oh, yeah. They changed him. He was Holocaust, and then they got protests, and it was changed to like genocide or something less offensive.
Yeah, whatever his character is, he's radioactive, I believe. But why he would have an affiliation with Spider-Man, I have no idea. So it's an intriguing title. I'm curious.
Next is one called Rogue Storm. So a Rogue/Storm team-up book, maybe?
Yeah, written by Iodelli.
Yeah, that's what my guess is. This will be the continuation or the Age of Revelation version of the Storm book. And I looked ahead of the solicits, and the Thunder War arc ends in September. So again,
Perfect
an
timing.
example of writers kind of clearing the decks, getting ready for the event. Okay, next we have, I'm on the right tab, here it is, X-Vengers. So I guess the Avengers book is going to be dragged into Age of Revelation as well, which, I mean, Jed McKay's writing both titles, so that's plausible.
That's not too shocking. And we've seen Avengers pop up on the X page, like what books you have to pick up recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's got Storm on it, right? So that makes it an X-Men book.
I guess so. And finally, we have X-Men: Book of Revelation, which I'm going to take as being like the overall main event title.
Yeah. I mean, as I look at this, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I like your idea of this being like two, part 1, part 2 stories.
Yeah,
so
almost like
maybe
X Lives and X Deaths of Wolverine. They like to do that.
Yeah, I didn't look at the graphics design close enough to think that. And now I'm thinking maybe this is really just like a 16-issue story. Which is probably more palpable for most people, right?
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, they could get this whole event done in October and just be a 1-month thing.
Yeah, and there's a mention that there's a X-Men Age of Revelation 0 and X-Men Age of Revelations Overture #1.
Yeah,
so maybe those are like the bookends to this.
There was X-Men: Age of Revelation #0. A few of these are already out in the wild. Marvel says they sent like 1 copy to each of, I don't know, all their retailers, their top retailers. I don't know how they decide who is going to get one, but they're out in the physical world and they're out on eBay. If you go to eBay and type that in, you'll see them selling for like $30. I did not invest $30 and try to get expedited shipping to get it for the podcast. But for the rest of us, X-Men: Age of Revelation #0 will be released next week on the regular Free Comic Book Day, maybe today or tomorrow as you're listening to me, Wednesday, July 16th. And it'll be out in physical form and as digital, so we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I guess I'm hoping that this is now again, I told myself this was like a 48-issue series. Now I want it just to be 16. This looks great. If it was this, or maybe 18, right? These 16 books, and then
a couple of main event titles. Yeah. I mean, Marvel loves to have their #1 issues. So if all they want to do is publish 16 new #1s and reap the benefits of that, maybe that's what they'll do.
I think you could tell pretty
folks
good.
Listening know the answer that we don't know.
Yeah, you could tell a good, compelling story in 18 issues. I feel like that would give you a good sense of like this new world and what's going on in it. And then
maybe it's hopefully a more organized version of like the X-Manhunt model, where each writer tells 1 chapter of the story.
Flows through it. Yeah.
So once again, these titles start showing up on October 1st. And next week, we'll talk about that preview #0 issue. And by then, we'll know a little more about the shape and the scope of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the news and the chit-chat. Let's talk about the Infinity comic, which is Astonishing X-Men Infinity Comic #29, The Cuckoo Song, Part 4. Written by Alex Packnadel, art by Philip Sevi, colors by Michael Bartolo, letters by Clayton Cowles. A pretty straightforward chapter. We're still on the island of Mersey, where the residents are mad at the mutants for first giving and then taking away those miracle drugs. Kind of understandable, really. So they managed, in a way not yet revealed, to get a hold of a symbiote. They lure some mutants to the island, they feed them to the symbiote, and somehow they're harvesting energy from them. We don't know the details of that yet.
I always thought symbiotes like healed your body.
Yeah.
Like that was one of their capabilities.
Once again, we're still not quite sure if the person wearing the symbiote suit or the symbiote itself is going to be the one who gets the benefits. There was talk of a ritual.
The ritual part doesn't make sense to me, but the idea of like whoever wears it gets healed makes sense, because that one guy had his arm broken, right?
Frazier,
yeah. And so it doesn't seem like he has a broken arm at this point. So somehow he got some healing from the symbiote, whether it has the ability to remotely heal you or like it does if you're being possessed by it.
Yeah, so as the chapter starts, that guy Frazier, he's wearing the symbiote and he's hunting the mutant girl named Ava. He catches up to her, and now we learn a little more about her mutant power. We saw her make extra heads, extra arms, that kind of thing. She tells us that her body's made entirely of stem cells, like a planarian worm. Did you get to play with planarian worms in high school biology? Remember those things, the flatworms?
They're just the very big worms that you dissect.
No, these were tiny, like less than a centimeter long, flat, one pointy end. They have like sensors that look like big googly eyes on them.
No, okay.
I think that's the planarians. And one thing they do is you cut them in half, and now you have two of them. They regenerate and form multiple organisms. Neat things. So that is what Ava does here. She kind of splits in half, almost like Multiple Man, leaving the first half in the grip of the symbiote, who I guess eats it, and the other half of her runs off. But where she runs off to is, unfortunately for her, right back to the clutches of those cultish townfolk and their leader, Dr. What's-His-Face. The Doctor's daughter is there, but that's really Husk in disguise. We knew that last chapter. Husk reveals herself by going to a metallic form and kind of stops Ava from being eaten by the symbiote, but she is forced to surrender when the Doctor threatens, surrender or will shoot Ava in the head. So now Ava and Husk are both captives. Husk is sedated, so she can't use her mutant ability. And their last hope seems to be for Skin, Angelo, who's kind of watching from above in secret to figure out some way to rescue them. So, still waiting for more clarity on what's up with the symbiote. I kind of like the motivation of the townsfolk. It's something different. It makes sense. Nothing super creative with the art going on, but looks plenty good for what it is. It's all right. It's still worth reading. Another very much middle chapter. I think probably 2 chapters to go for this story to wrap up. Anything to add to that, or just it's doing what it's doing and it's all right?
Yeah, it's a fine story. It's not that interesting to me at this point, and it's got some of the tropes that just are kind of silly, which is the symbiote is going to immediately eat Ava until they need to just throw them in jail and wait so they can get rescued. I don't understand why it goes from I'm just going to finish you now to let's wait till the ritual's over, but it's what we're doing.
Yeah, I guess I'm sure we'll see something in the ritual next chapter, and then we'll wrap up with the one after that. And hey, I wonder if the Infinity Comic's going to take part in the Age of Revelation event.
Probably not.
I'm gonna guess it does connect somehow. I don't think they're gonna keep doing regular Infinity Comics when we're in Age of Revelation. I'm looking back at the titles now. I don't see any title that makes me think, oh, that'll be the Infinity Comic, because the Infinity Comic's been where are all these characters? What is the group that most of these characters come from? The timeline, or the part of X history, like Husk and Angelo and Generation
X.
Yeah. I'm looking for a title that reminds me of Generation X, and I don't see one. So I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I'm going to say there will be something Age of Revelation happening in the Infinity Comic. That's my prediction. Let's move on now to today's one and only physical, real-world, actual X-Men comic we're going to talk about, which is Uncanny X-Men number 17, Murder Me, Mutina. Written by Gail Simone, art by Luciano Vecchio, colors by Rochelle Rosenberg, letters by Clayton Coles. And boy, Ruben, I really like the premise of the issue, which Gail Simone was pushing for some time now, saying, hey, you retailers, you better order more of these because we're introducing our big new character. So the premise is there's this controversial movie in the 616 universe, and it features a serial killer who is a mutant. The star of that movie is going to turn out to be a mutant, I think, and a killer in real life.
Yes.
Now, the cover of this issue is the poster of the fictitious movie, and frankly, the cover is the best part of the book for me. It looks really cool. You see all the logos and the credits kind of in the style of a movie poster. Credit to David Marquez, Matthew Wilson. I think the cover looks really neat, and the cover is probably going to sell a good number of copies. Just shows Mutina semi-silhouetted holding these bloody, curved knife things. So we open the book, and we start by seeing various and sundry current-day mutants weighing in on how upset they are about this movie. We got Kitty Pryde, Rogue and Company in New Orleans, Laura and Gabby in New York, Cyclops in Alaska, and they seem a little too upset to me over a movie, right? They seem convinced that one movie is going to turn public opinion radically against mutants.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about, but I don't know. I try to think of minority groups, and when members of their group do something bad, and then everybody in the group is like, oh shit, public sentiment's going to turn against us. Yeah, so maybe it kind of makes sense, but
I get the concept, but again, I'm thinking about living in the 616 where actual evil mutants have done actual horrible things kind of all the time, right? The mutants just took over an island and said, we're your new gods now. And
yeah, that's where
it's hard for me to see one movie as moving the needle, right?
Yeah, where I'm just like, oh, this is going to make people afraid of us. I'm just kind of like, I think there's plenty of actual examples of situations where, is this you thought that 3K didn't announce themselves to the world. you think it was just the mutants, but that probably still would have leaked, right? Somehow somebody would have thrown it up on YouTube. And,
that's an excellent point. Yeah.
And then everyone would have seen it as like, you don't really need a, fake murder movie to make you think like, oh, these guys are a real threat to us.
This team of real mutant supremacists are planning on eliminating us for reals. But I mean, that's the premise of this comic. So I can go with that premise just for this, but it did make my brain go, really?
It's a little heavy-handed for me, given the world that we live in, right? Like if this was like, oh, we just finally have, the mutants aren't that well known, and now we have something that's like bringing it to the public sentiment, fine, but it's just tough.
I think we kind of have to go with that. We know there have been, I don't know how many thousands of X-Men related comics actually published.
Yeah.
The writers have to be able to tell a new story and not have all of that weighing on them. So we can kind of say, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another bit in this section that confused me is that one of the characters, I forget who, uses the word misery, and it's written like bold and italics. And it made me think, oh, they're doing a thing where they're going to use like the titles of actual famous horror movies, and that's going to be like a motif. But no, that never happened again, unless there's other movie titles I didn't notice. But I really thought, they're doing a thing with the word misery. But
I think it's Rogue when she's like narrating.
Yeah, there it is.
And she's like, I have to agree with Scott.
So now we get a page of various characters, like 4 Marvel characters and 4 real people, giving their opinion on the Mutina movie. The Marvel side, we have Blade, Elsa Bloodstone, Damon Hellstrom, and Magic. So 4 kind of magic, demon kind of connected characters, interestingly.
I roll my eyes on this part too. And the reason I roll my eyes on this part is like, are these people just really easy to get a hold of for like a news conference? Like, I'm just going to go find Blade, right? Like
what they are, the Marvel the characters, because the other 4 people, the real world people. If
you're an interviewer, like you could just let me go find Elsa Bloodstone, get her take on this. Like, I just don't think you have these people on speed dial.
Like in your Rolodex, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Damon's is standing there with popcorn, so maybe he just came out of the movie and he just happened to, I don't know.
That's even worse. Like, are you telling me that like Blade and Elsa were just like, it's a Saturday afternoon, I need to go see this Mutina movie? Yeah. They got better things to do.
Blade can go to a matinee because he's a daywalker, so that's convenient.
I see. Yeah, during the day he's bored, so he's like he's got one of those passes to see
vampires
everything.
To kill. Aren't all vampires daywalkers now after Blood Hunt?
Yeah,
I forget. So the other 4 people, real world people, are 4 people that Gail Simone interacts with on social media.
Mm-hmm.
It literally is. She's put her social media friends in here.
Oh, that's funny.
We've got screenwriter C. Robert Cargill. We've got novelist and also Swamp Thing writer Nancy Collins. We've got writer-director Emily Andras and novelist / son of Stephen King, Joe Hill.
Yeah.
Joe Hill was connected with DC doing all those Hill House books a few years ago. So
yeah,
he's also kind
Lock
of
and Key, right? So
yeah, Lock and Key was his.
That was the one I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty good series. But this is just to kind of give some real world kind of feel. Now we settle in on our usual Uncanny cast.
Can I ask a question about this?
Sure.
Do you think that she came up with this dialogue, or do you think she consulted with them, given that they're her friends, like what they might say about this?
I would expect that she ran it past them. Yeah. Like, hey, is it okay with you if I put you in a comic book saying this? But I think Gail Simone probably wrote the dialogue. Because otherwise, she'd have to get each of these people up to speed on what was happening in the comic book, and they'd have to, that'd be asking a lot. I think she probably just said, hey, I'm going to have you say this. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
My guess. So on to the main cast. The grown-ups are so upset about this movie that they set an early curfew for the Outlier kids. Cause of the movie, not cause of all the other actual real-world horrible things going on, cause of the movie.
Yeah.
But the Outlier kids, they've already snuck out to see the movie.
And this whole issue just bugs me. Just like where we're at in time, right? You've got Dazzler was just kidnapped from the stage, right? Or did that happen after this? But regardless, who knows when that happened relative to this? But these like dogs are out there, right? They were attacked at
Sentinel dogs, yeah.
Yeah, Sentinel dogs were attacked. They were attacked at a mall. Like I would think that they would just have these kind of rules in place, regardless. But
you'd think
this movie is such a big deal.
The movie was sold out, but Jitter used hacking skills to hack the ticket site.
Yeah,
which but wouldn't the seat already be filled even if you hacked the site? So you get in there early and then telling whoever actually bought the seat, sorry, you got to... Anyway, thinking too hard.
Yeah.
They watch the movie, and it's very typical slasher cliche. Mutina's a bullied kid who gets revenge by murdering all her bullies to death. Now, in the movie, at least from what we've been shown, something is very much missing, something I expected. It's a story of a killer mutant, but what is never shown to us, Ruben?
That she's a mutant?
That she uses any mutant power at all. We see her holding knives, like plain old regular knives, and we see the aftermath of her having stabbed somebody to death. But she's just a regular slasher whose name happens to be Mutina, again, as far as we can tell. So I don't know if Gail Simone just doesn't want to nail down what her power is, or...
Well, she does later. They talk about... Yeah, they talk about how, like, if there's shadows around, she can travel through the shadows. So she's like a limited Nightcrawler. Or there was a character silhouette on the New Warriors that had this power. Like, if there's a shadow, she can come out of it. And so the one scene where we see the, classic teenager getting murdered by Mutina, she's kind of like, there's a big shadow in the pool, right? And she kind of like comes out of that. But I don't know. I'm going to, even judging the quality of this movie, I'm like, okay, you're at a high school and you're doing some late pool laps, but like it's awful dark. I guess it goes click, the lights go out. Yeah. All right, never mind. I was going to say, like, why is it so damn dark in the pool?
It doesn't look like a high budget movie. It looks like a pretty, cheap slasher movie.
Yeah.
So the kids react here in different ways. Calico is terrified from start to finish, like before anything even scary happens. Ransom doesn't seem to have an opinion one way or the other. Death Dream was bored, and I actually like this character beat better than anything else in the book, right? It makes sense. The kid who just deals with death as an everyday thing would be bored by a slasher movie. He even wanted to go see this animated kitty otter musical instead, which I think that's a lot of fun. Jitter is offended the movie made mutants out to be monsters, but, maybe it did. We didn't see the whole movie. But yeah, I think if you want to sell this as being, oh no, this is really bad for mutants, we should be shown the part of the movie that does that has, mutants are bad because they're mutants. I don't see that.
I mean, even just think back to the Krakoa era, right? We're still in that area. We had, like, Xavier appear at everybody's head and say, like, we are your gods now. Like,
yeah.
I think people would not be over that, even with the island being destroyed. But maybe not destroyed, but, phased out of existence.
So they go to a diner after the movie, and they kind of talk about this, and then out of nowhere, Death Dream makes a speech. They talk about, it's very much taking those are the bad people who are discriminating against us victims. That's how they ruin us. That's how they do this to us. And I don't know, if you're going to be anti-stereotype, maybe don't throw around the word they quite so much so easily. But to prove his point, the outliers are now set upon by very stereotypical bullies who call them stinking toxic muties. And Death Dream absolutely ruins a kid's life. He's a bully, but he says to him, hey, your dad says hello.
Yeah.
His dad's dead, of course. And then Death Dream describes the ghost of the dead dad saying, I always knew you'd turn out like this. You're a piece of garbage. And then I guess the bullies leave, and I guess they go directly to therapy. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Which, not good people, but my God, that is really
I appreciated Calico's reaction where she was like, maybe we are monsters.
Yeah, that was a good reaction. And there's not very much of that in these books where they kind of go, oh, yeah, I can kind of see why people are scared of us. So I think there should be more of that from other than just Calico. So
I'd also say it's an interesting continuation of Calico's story arc, right, where she has been struggling with her mom first told her that, being a mutant was bad. And then she met these mutants and thought, like, oh, maybe it's not so bad. We're doing cool stuff. And then she sees this. So I'm still interested in her arc.
She does seem to be getting kind of dumber and dumber as time goes on. Every time she's like simpler and like younger. I know she's supposed to be like a naive, sheltered rich kid.
Yeah.
But she is getting a little too simple for me, which makes her relationship with Jitter seem kind of a little bit. Anyway, that's just me. So they go home.
I could use, I could do without this whole like ballerina thing where Jitter keeps calling her ballerina. I'm like, okay, yes, you had one dance. Like, I don't know.
Oh, they are officially
why that's here. No, I get that, but like, what a stupid pet name. I don't know.
I'm not even going to ask what your pet names are, but
for my wife,
too much information. I'm going to call my wife Ballerina tonight and see how that goes. Everybody out there, try that. Just call your wife or husband Ballerina tonight.
Yeah.
Just, slip it and subtle and see how it goes.
My wife is super into pickleball, so I'll just be like, hey, pickle bud.
Hey there, pickle face. That won't work. No, don't do that. Hey there, pickler. Racket girl.
Racket girl.
They go home. They get mildly scolded for sneaking out. And we learn that we see their pet sentinel dog again. They've named Waffles.
Mm-hmm.
And we're told that something Death Dream did awoke the good doggy hidden inside. It loves him now, watches over us all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I thought the whole thing with the sentinel dogs were that the organic brains were being like tortured continuously, and that's why it was like a good thing for Death Dream to release them all with the sweet release of death. Wasn't that the whole point of these dogs? And now there's, we need a cute little, every book needs some cute pet kind of a thing going on.
Yeah. I don't really understand what this dog adds to the story.
I guess everybody wants to create the new Jeff the Land Shark or Lockheed the Dragon, right? Something they're going to be selling stuffed animals of. I don't think we're going to see a Waffle stuffed animal, but I think that's what every writer wants to create.
Got it. I guess that makes sense. Gail Simone wants that royalty money.
So the next day, the craziest thing happened, Rubens. Craziest thing. I did not expect this. They go to school. Did you know they were still attending school?
I recall that, yeah.
I think the last time we saw them go to school was issue number 6, and that's when they all kind of got kidnapped by Orcus, or not Orcus, the Greymalkin prison people. So I had figured, okay, going to school was a disaster. They're just being homeschooled now or whatever. But I guess they've been going to school the whole time.
It does make you question the timeline, right?
Yeah. 11 issues ago was the last time we saw it.
Yeah, all that stuff at the mall was like between, I guess, issue 6 and now. Is that like a weekend? Or it was like a 3-day weekend, maybe?
Or it was just like in between issues, they've been going to school and just never gets mentioned.
Yeah.
You'd think it would at least be in the dialogue, a mention of, homework or that teacher or something.
There's a question, like, do they get homework? Somebody must do it for them. Maybe Jitter, like, she uses her best student in the world and like does
Jitter
everybody's
GPT.
homework.
Yeah. So anyway, they go to school and somebody has graffitied "Go away Mutina" on Jitter's locker, like Mutina is the new anti-mutant slur. We don't know who did this, but we do know it wasn't Tommy. He's that blonde kid with a little man bun. He was a real jerk back in issue number 6. He picked on Death Dream. He got beaten up by Ransom as payback. Here we learn that he used to have a stutter, and now he feels bad about Jitter getting picked on. She has a stutter, even though the way she's being picked on doesn't seem to have anything to do with her stutter. But right,
this could have been done better.
Mutina. That would be like a stutter.
Been way better. Yeah, that would have been a much more connection-based thing, right?
And yeah, it would work a little bit. So he's just being a nice guy here. He's offering to help clean the thing off. Calico sees Tommy interacting with her girl Jitter, and I don't know if this is jealousy or actually wanting to protect her, but Calico freaks the hell out, goes full-on flaming demon girl on demon horse, scares the living crap out of poor Tommy, who's just trying to be nice. And now Calico and Jitter get suspended for this, which made me laugh because, in my mind, they're not really going to school anyway, so suspended, who cares?
Back to suspension of disbelief. Imagine you're like a parent at this high school and you find out that like this shit's going on and you just got like a non-mutant kid going to there. Why are these people even allowed to come back? The equivalent of this is like, I had a conflict in high school, and this isn't real, right? But I'm just saying hypothetically.
Right.
You have a conflict in high school and somebody like pulls a weapon on you. Like, that person's not coming back, right? They're not just suspended for 3 days. This is pretty ridiculous to me.
And Calico doesn't just carry a weapon that you could say, okay, don't bring that back anymore. She is a weapon. That's what being a certain kind of mutant is. That's why a lot of the metaphors about them being oppressed don't exactly fly, because they actually are dangerous.
Yeah. You would think that, we have a lot of suppression technology in Marvel Universe. Like, you'd think it'd be like, okay, fine, come to public school, but you got to wear
power
like one of these inhibitor
everywhere.
bands or something, right? And that'd be a good angle too, because then you could have like they get attacked at school, but they've got their dampeners on. Like, now here's your drama. How are they going to get out of the situation?
Yeah, but you're thinking about this, I think, a lot more than Gail Simone did. So now we suddenly introduce a brand new plot element in a narration box, kind of clumsy. We learn that the actress who plays Mutina is coming to town to a press conference, and Jitter and Calico are going to go there and give this actress a piece of their minds.
Mm-hmm.
Again, as far as we know, this is just some struggling actress trying to get a career. Like, we'll find out later. She is actually new, but they don't know that. They know this is a movie that says maybe mean things about mutants. So you go after the actress?
Yeah. This whole thing, I was like, you're a B-list actress in like a slasher flick, and somebody's like, I really don't like that you were portraying a slasher in a slasher fic. Like, dude, this is a job.
Reality versus fiction. You think that there should be a story about like toxic fandoms.
Yes.
Right? Being confused about actresses. But no, they're perfectly correct.
Yeah, this actress would be like, I interviewed for like 100 gigs. This is the shit I was able to land, right? Like, I need to pay for
to make
dinner.
this work. You'd have to make her be like the auteur behind it, right? She was a producer. She's the writer. It was her idea. She gathered the funding. Then it would at least make sense to be mad at her for making the movie, not just some kid working for scale hoping for a break.
Yeah, exactly.
So the girls go to this place. They sneak into the actress's dressing room. Super creepy. They yell at her. We learn her name is Letitia. Letitia? I don't know how to say it. Jitter says that she's hacked Letitia's data and found her vlog. So a couple weird things here. I don't want Jitter just to be the hacker girl every issue, right? Her power set, she's way more interesting than that. Don't just have her be the excuse that they can hack everything. And isn't a vlog, by definition, public? So I don't know what they hacked.
Well, we see the pictures of her wearing like some kind of scarecrow mask. So maybe the vlog was like...
Oh, that's the vlog? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was them seeing Letitia here in real life. That makes a lot more sense.
No, yeah. She's just like apparently
so
supremacist
she was
on the vlog.
Okay, so she has another persona where she wears this bat. I thought the scarecrow face was like her mutant power kicking in. I thought she was like a clay face.
No.
But no, that makes a lot more sense that she is she's not secretly, but she's releasing these vlogs, but not linking it to her actual real name. Okay, that makes more sense. So this whole section of notes I have about her having scarecrow head powers, I'm just going to skip those.
Yeah, skip that, man.
Was she bitten by a radioactive scarecrow? No, skip that joke. Okay.
Yeah.
So she does put on her actual mask.
Yeah.
And she takes out knives, different knives than she used in the movie, but she's dual wielding these knives. And we've got a fight start up. Calico says she can't call Ember in to help because Ember hates knives, which, again, this is another instance of Gail Simone coming up with an excuse for Ember not to come in and save the day when he should be able to come in and save the day.
Yeah. And I'm not going to flip back through 17 issues to confirm, but I'm pretty sure there's been some sharp, pokey things that we've seen Ember have no problems with before.
Maybe. I mean, he was part of that big raid on Grey Malkin.
Yeah. Plus, he's an undead horse, right? Like, if nothing else, like, I'm sure Ember probably was there when they were fighting Wolverine. I didn't see it go, running off, seeing his little claws, but
yeah, and again,
anyways.
Just saying, he's scared of knives makes me think Calico as kind of simple-minded character again. So we're in this fight, and Jitter calls upon Iron Fist abilities. I thought that was a cool idea because useful abilities, and we learned that her powers are linked to taking abilities from the dead, and Iron Fist is currently dead or maybe undead.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it would have been nice to actually see Jitter use one of his signature moves, right? Call out one of those wacky names.
Iron Fist, yes.
Right. I complain about like Storm and Wolverine using those kind of named moves, but if she's being Iron Fist, make her be Iron Fist.
Yeah, at least the fist should have like glowed, right? And she throws a punch or something.
She just gets her ass kicked by this chick with two knives, even though she has Iron Fist powers. So that was disappointing.
So, and I'm curious about this as well. Like, kind of looks like this person's using some martial arts, right? And I thought she was the best for 1 minute while she was this character. I mean, I guess she dodges an attack, but
that's all she does. She dodges one attack, but then she gets kicked into a mirror.
Yeah.
And I think Iron Fist should be better than that.
Yeah, I would think maybe her mistake was not saying like advanced ass kicking, but
Iron Fist. I mean, that is a synonym for advanced ass kicking, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was, but apparently not. Apparently
not, because we need to have the girls
stronger
in peril, about to be murdered to death by this actress.
Yeah.
Who is, I guess, a mutant. But then the grown-up Uncannies show up to rescue them. They teleport in using Gambit's Eye of Agamotto, which is also what told him that the girls were in trouble and where to find them. So this is at least the third time that this Eye of Agamotto serves as the Deus Ex Machina to save the day. That's
works
too many
until
times.
It doesn't.
Right? Unless this is building up to then turn on him, which maybe, but it just comes so out of nowhere.
I want to point out another thing I'm just noticing from the art.
Yeah.
The knife changes, unless that's a different knife. Maybe she's got a bunch of knives elsewhere. But
yeah, they look like kind of almost regular kitchen type blades.
Yeah.
And then they turn into like wiggly. Yeah. So maybe that's part of Mutina's power, has to do with making different shaped knives.
Yeah.
So ill-defined.
Really bizarre.
So the grown-ups are here. Letitia's powers are connected to shadows, like you said. So Jubilee, she makes some fireworks, and that weakens Letitia, and I guess that wins the fight.
Yeah, I felt like this could have been shown a lot better, right? Because they talk about her being able to jump through shadows. I needed to see that.
Yeah, I wonder if this was supposed to be like a 2-issue arc, and they just cut out every other page, is what it feels like. Like, all the exposition that would make this hang together isn't here.
Because they almost see it once where she's kind of in a shadow with her knife, and then, like, the next page, characters are, like, looking, she's gone, and then she kind of appears behind them. But it just feels like it's missing a panel to show like that she blanked out.
She doesn't need shadow. I mean, if you just saw this comic book without dialogue and didn't know anything about shadow powers, she's just in a dark corner of the room and she pops out of it.
Yeah.
It's not explicit enough to say, something actual magical mutant is going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And as the book ends, we get another out of nowhere revelation. Jitter can feel that Letitia is a self-hating mutant. I don't know how Jitter does that. Next, we learn that Letitia can read minds. Right? She knows that Jitter went for ice cream last night, so she's like basically threatening, I'm going to track you down and kill you anyway.
Yeah.
And so what do the grown-up Uncannies do? We have a dangerously out-of-control mutant girl in front of them, one who's probably killed people before, one who's about to kill the kids in their charge, actively threatened to kill them again in the future. So do they capture her, lock her up? Do they turn her over to warden/podcaster Corinna Ellis?
You would think that would be the kind of thing you would do, right?
Something to, maybe help her out, get her some treatment. But no, they
threaten to write a strongly worded letter.
And then they just leave with this crazy, dangerous person still out in the world.
Yeah, it's such a dumb ending. It's like they defeat her and then they're like, okay, we're at a standstill and we can't do anything about you. So bye.
Yeah,
really?
They clearly want to leave it open-ended, leave this character out there in case she does turn out to be a big hit so she can be brought back. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Final words on this last panel are, quote, next, corn dogs and carnage.
Yes.
Corn dogs again, Ruben. I thought we left those behind after the demise. I said the word demise. There we go, the X Factor book. But next week is that big pro-mutant party in New Orleans. Yes. And I guess, I've never been there, but does New Orleans cuisine prominently feature corn dogs?
No.
Corn dog gumbo?
Not
corn
at
dog
all.
beignets? Corn dog etouffee? I guess it does now. Again, it's just going to be carnival food. That's fine. But yeah, a dumb issue. It was all supposed to be introducing this breakout new mutant character.
Yeah. I mean, Logan threatens her, right? Don't do it again. And that's enough?
She doesn't seem the kind of character who would take a threatening and just say, oh, okay, I won't.
I need to know, like, when she can travel through shadows, like, can she show up and kill the kids? Or does she have to, like, know where she's going?
Mind-reading power on top of it, and the knife transforming power, and what's her backstory? Why does she hate mutants? She seems to be a self-hating mutant herself. It's just, she's kind of a nothing. She's a cool character design. I think physically on the cover she looks neat, but that's all she is. So yeah, the school popping up out of nowhere, the dialogue being kind of dumber and dumber. The art, I prefer the David Marquez art. It kind of goes back and forth, but there's nothing wrong with the art. He draws a very different style of face. Everybody here has these really sharp cheekbones that can cut glass. They look nice. They don't match the way the characters look in my head, but that's a taste thing. There's nothing wrong with the art. But
I think Gabe read a different issue than we did because he seemed really into this on the,
he did
on the review.
I like to write my notes up first, then I'll go see what Gabe had to say. And he was at like a 7.8, I think, which for Gabe is like a 23.5.
Especially he's usually a big, critic of, kids being done poorly, right? Or like, not being that respectful as a parent to the safety of your children. But for some reason, this resonated with him a lot more than with me. Maybe he's like secretly the cellar dweller. We always thought it was Eric, but it's been
maybe just a horror movie really is his thing. Could be.
Yeah.
So yeah, hey Gabe, I'm glad you liked it. Anybody else who liked it, I'm glad you liked it too. For me, the negatives outweigh the positive. I'm going to give this just a plain old 5 out of 10. Cool concept.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Didn't like the execution.
Yeah, I think the character design's cool. I think the character, from what I understand of the powers, I don't know why she has to be a telepath, but sure, why not?
Yeah, that comes out of nowhere, and it's only relevant for one panel.
Yeah, it's sort of like we're doing this just to make her a more impressive character. But in any event, I'm sure we'll see this character again. But
maybe we'll see what
this issue was not that interesting to me.
And did you have a number for it? Did I miss it?
I'm also a 5.
Also a 5.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. That is enough about Uncanny X-Men number 17. So that is the last actual X-Men book we're going to talk about, but we really like the power fantasy, and we only had the one book to talk about, although we are at like an hour into the podcast, so much for that idea, but we're going to talk about the power fantasy anyway. I'm going to give the credits. It is written by Kieran Gillen, art by Casper Wingard, letters by Clayton Cowles, and design by Ryan Hughes. So did we only talk about the first issue of this? Did we do a catch-up halfway through?
Nope. We did the first issue and then just have been alluding to the fact that we've enjoyed the story periodically.
So I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to set up what the world is. We can talk about the individual characters, and then we'll kind of get around to what the status of the story is now that we just read the 10th issue of the book.
Yep.
And Kieran Gillen has said that he has a planned exit if he needs to at issue 16, but if sales are good enough, he can keep it going significantly longer than that. So I'm hoping he goes longer, but unlike, for instance, maybe Jeff Thorne over there in X-Force, he does have a planned out if he needs it. So we're in a world where a lot of people have some level of what you might call a mutant power. Maybe something strong, maybe a tail, maybe he can jump, maybe just light up fingers. And these people are called atomics. The current day of this book is 1999, but we get flashbacks as far as the mid-1940s when the first atomics started appearing right after the first nuclear weapon tests.
Yep.
You got a lot of atomics, but only a very few people in the world, just like a handful, have such overwhelmingly strong abilities that they're a danger to destroy the entire world. And these are the superpowers. Some superpowers are atomics, others have acquired powers from other sources. And there's a delicate balance between superpowers. If they ever got into a fight, the Earth might literally be destroyed as an outcome. And if this sounds like a metaphor for nuclear weapons, yeah, it very much is. Very much out on Front Street. So our initial kind of main character, who may or may not be the main character of the whole thing, is Etienne Lux. He is an atomic. He's basically Professor X. He's psychic. He can mess with people's minds on a global scale if he wants to. And he acts, or at least thinks he acts, from deep ethical commitments. He usually talks like he's a utilitarian, meaning, greatest good for the greatest number, even if that requires taking actions a normal person would consider repugnant. Sometimes he talks about lines he just won't cross for any reason, which would make him more of a deontologist if you're into ethics jargon. But basically, he always says that he has this deep ethical background behind everything he does. So he's either the greatest hero in the history of the world, or a deeply evil son of a gun who pretends to be moral to make himself feel better, depending on what you think of him.
Yeah, and he also has he's not particularly emotional because he effectively neutered himself of emotions. Like he used his own psychic powers to either compartmentalize or erase his ability to be driven by emotions.
He's turned himself into Mr. Spock, more or less.
Yep.
And he knows that his powers aren't the best when the stuff starts to hit the fan. So he's all about planning ahead, planting suggestions in people's minds, controlling people's emotions. He wants there to not be a crisis. He's all about preventing them.
And the other thing that's interesting about his powers is they've mentioned that he has the ability to interface psychically with the entire world all at once. So he is sort of truly omnipotent, right? He could control everyone if he wanted to.
Yeah,
short of the people that have
planted.
The ability to resist his influence, but
yeah,
he seems to at least be able to read minds.
It seems like he can't control the other superpowers. He can kind of read some of their minds, and we do see him influence them in certain ways we'll get to. But he is definitely a fascinating character who I think you're supposed to be conflicted about him at the beginning, but he does some awful, awful things towards the end where you go, wow, I hate this guy now. I see what he's doing. I see why he's doing it. But boy, the old Professor X is a jerk thing from Kitty, but ramped up times a million.
Yep.
Next, we have Valentina, a.k.a. Santa Valentina. She's a superpower, but not an atomic, because she's not human at all. She is an angel. Yep. She came from this world's version of heaven, which we're told is nothing like what a religious person might call heaven. We've told there's a graphic where there's heaven as this big area up top of the graph, hell as this big area underneath the graph, and our reality is the one and only reality running in between heaven and hell.
Yeah.
Cool idea.
The big eye idea is part of this book. I can't totally grasp all of what they're trying to explain, but roughly, like, heaven and hell are infinite, right? Like, they always exist at all times at once. But what makes reality interesting is that it's linear.
Yes.
And so, although heaven and hell are amazing places, both of those forces seem to, be interested in maintaining the linear timeline because it's like the one and only linear timeline. So no multiversal stuff in theory. I question if that's exactly right, given some of the plot points we've seen, but there is a linear timeline that's like,
it's almost
sacred
like
to everybody.
This reality is the only part that really matters because it's the only thing that can change. Like, heaven is eternal, hell is eternal, but what's up for grabs is what goes on in this one single timeline. So Valentina is an angel. She says that she came from heaven. She was born as a baby, but having superpowers and the ability to speak and think like an adult already. She says she has no memory of what it was like in heaven, but she was sent here to help keep humanity safe.
Yeah, and it seemed to be triggered by the first atomic bombs. Like, she showed up because once once the government created nuclear weapons and could wipe out this timeline on Earth, like, then I guess heaven said you need to go down there and make sure they don't erase everything.
She compares herself to the bumpers that bowling alleys put up in the gutters when kids play. Like, if humanity is about to throw a gutter ball, she's there to bounce the ball back out toward the pins.
Yep.
And she's kind of this book's version of Superman, more or less, right? Comes from off of Earth, but here to help, kind of naive, very naive, really. She's certainly not stupid, but she's very straightforward, nowhere near as crafty, as conniving as Etienne.
Yeah.
They usually get along with each other, even though they're very different kinds of people.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part, too. They talk often about how, she's more driven by morality, like what is good, whereas he's like, what is utilitarian? And so
almost like a just simply what's in front of me, save the person in front of me. Don't think too long term, I guess.
And so typically they're allies, but there's certainly points where they disagree. So early in the series, when it's just the two of them kind of being aware of being superpowers, I think he talks to her and says, like, well, maybe we should just take over the whole world and suppress everything that comes after us that might be on our level, so that like there's nothing else that could threaten everything. And she's very much against the idea of like, one person or a duo of people like being dictators and controlling everything.
I get the feeling that they get along because Etienne knows they have to get along, right? That he has his plans. He doesn't tell her all his plans, but his plans definitely include not having her kill him.
Yeah, exactly.
So he needs to be kind of buddy-buddy with her for him to do anything that he wants to do. So again,
at least initially we were told she has like mental blocks or something. Maybe she knows the triangle protocol.
Well, she's an angel, yeah.
So he can talk to her psychically, but he can't. And maybe he can even read her mind. That's a question I've got. I don't know if he has the ability to like know what she's thinking, but he can't like force her to do things.
And she is totally physically invulnerable. Like, the U.S. tries to assassinate her with a nuclear bomb right underneath her.
Yeah.
Kills like 10,000 people, but she's fine. Yep. Next we have, I'm going to go with Brother Ray Harris, a.k.a. Heavy.
Yeah.
He's another atomic superpower, and he has complete control over gravity to the point where he could toss whole continents into space if he wanted to.
Yep.
And sometimes he wants to because he's kind of excitable.
Yeah. He's kind of the Magneto character in this series. He's a very,
kind of,
pro-atomic person. Like, he comes out and says he's like the defender of all the atomics.
Yeah, he thinks every atomic is part of his nuclear family, is the phrase he uses. He's kind of an aging hippie type guy.
Yep.
He has gathered a bit of a cult around himself. They all live in a floating rock headquarters he calls Haven.
Yep.
Again, I guess that is kind of a Magneto thing, right? Like the asteroid M.
Yep.
The more I think about it, the more Magneto parallels there are, really.
Yeah, you can see it.
America tries to kill him. America tries to kill a lot of these characters. America is not necessarily the good guy in this book, for sure. Certainly not the governments. And when that fails, Heavy wants to throw all of Texas into space to punish them. And kill everybody in the whole place. He only agrees not to when Etienne, in return, says, hey, let's not do that. And in response, I'll just kill everyone in the government who was remotely connected or knew about this attempt, including the President of the United States.
Yeah, it's like a surgical solution, right? It's So I think Heavy wanted to do that to say, like, look, you cannot attack me or my family, because if you do, I can destroy all of you.
Yeah.
And Etienne's like, we can make that exact same point. We just kill all the people that were involved in this and not the innocents that just kind of, happened to be secondary. And initially Heavy is like, that's not enough. Like, he's very rageful, right? He's like,
he wants to kill their families.
You got to kill their family too. And Etienne's like, okay, I'll do that as long as I can also kill all of your family. Like, everyone on your little Haven satellite. And it seems initially it's kind of confusing in the comic. It seems like he says fine, but then later it's very clear that, like, he didn't.
Yeah, I think he means fine. That. Like, okay, I see your point.
Yes,
let's call it done.
I'll just tolerate the people that happen to know about the strike and kind of condoned it.
Yeah, but now Etienne is clearly the most wanted person in the entire world, because he just murdered the president and most of the cabinet and a lot of senators. Everybody.
Yep.
So Heavy also has a secret. He has a son who he calls Kid Ignition, and he says that he learned from this one atomic who was basically destiny, basically a psychic says, your kid will also be a superpower.
Yep.
Because that's not typically how these powers work in this world. They're not always inherited. Right. The psychic says, your kid's a superpower, so he has a kid, seals the kid away, and the kid, yes, is a superpower. So,
Haven is one of those locations that is immune to Etienne's vision. Something to do with the source of power that keeps it afloat. There's like a singularity. And so Heavy always tells Etienne, like, I'm not trying to hide things from you. It's just, that's the way we keep this, base floating.
Right.
But it does actually obscure his vision. And so when he has this kid, they keep it in like a bubble, basically, within the Haven that's, away from Etienne's vision. So he doesn't know what's going on.
Only Heavy's most trusted people have any idea this is going on.
Yes. Which then makes you wonder about this Kid Ignition, like, how well adjusted is he going to be? Because he's like, he grew up like 0 to 18 or however old he is, with like complete isolation except for like a handful of people.
And his crazy dad
and his crazy dad sex cult.
Yeah.
Which, I kind of laugh when Heavy's like, we're not secret about our crazy ass sex cult. We're just secret about this other secret.
Yeah. So, and it's almost like he's developing a weapon system secretly, right? Almost like Dr. Strangelove, where we don't know that the Russians have this system. Because this kid could unbalance this whole delicate balance of what superpowers think of each other, right? If Heavy basically turns out to be twice as powerful, I mean, assuming the kid goes along with Dad's plans, and like half as vulnerable because you'd have to kill them both off at once, everything could fall apart.
Yeah, his whole, this is the delicate balance piece, the Cold War piece that's interesting, which is the idea of, he's like, well, if we all fought, usually we would just be like mutually assured destruction, right? Like, we'd both be done. But we shouldn't do that because the collateral damage would like destroy the whole world.
Yes.
But now it's like, in theory, you have even more power, because if you're taken out, like, your backup kid would clearly be there to like take that other person out. Right.
It's a world where no one can perform a first strike.
Yeah.
But now he could, which he could do that. So he's planning on announcing his kid to the world pretty soon. Like, there's going to be like, get all the superpowers and then kind of unveil it.
Yeah. And he also thinks he's a good guy, right? Because he's very leftist, communal. And he's like, well, having another superpower that's part of our group just makes the world more leftist, which is great for the world.
Now, this is a political book, but it's political in a way that the politics make the world more complex, have more texture.
Yeah, it's not a judgment call. It's not saying like that is the truth. It's just, it explains why every person's got their own motivations and like their approach to this situation. And they all think they're right, correct?
Yeah, sure. And Kieran Gillen, I think it's fair to say, is more or less on the left, depending how you want to define that.
Right.
But he's not saying that, these leftist characters are the good guys and the ones on the right are the bad guys. He sees how a leftist character could go wrong.
Yeah, and does bad things, right? We see in one scene early on, there was a alleged seventh superpower. Like, at one point, the U.S. found some atomic that had a lot of power, and his name was the Major, or his code name was the Major.
Basically, Captain America, right? America's own pet version of a superpower.
Yep, and for a period, he was interfacing with the other superpowers, and I guess he was at odds with Heavy. They're talking shit to each other, and they had some God, what was it? Was it the Cuban Missile Crisis? Basically they call a meeting of all the superpowers, and the Major's like, we're gonna, America's
This was more about the 1980s, kind of the going into the Middle East.
Okay, so it's an Iran thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, yeah, so it's one of those government conflicts, and the Major's like, yeah, we're going to do it. And the other characters are like, let's do a sidebar. And so Etienne and like the other five talk, and they come to the conclusion that the Major's like just faking it. He's actually not a superpower. And as soon as Heavy learns that, he just like compacts the Major
into a marble.
Yeah, into a marble, which is pretty awful and horrific, right? And then he like kicks him off, and he's like, that guy was an asshole. Like I've been hoping to do something like that for a while. And everyone's like, you really have to kill him? Like, was that was that good that you did that, right? Like, I get that he was
we see how
in your ass, but
everything's at this balanced on a knife edge, that if there's any vulnerability shown, some people will say, I got to take that asshole out before he takes me out.
And Heavy seems to be the one, Heavy and Magus both are like driven by emotion more so than, the other two.
Which, interesting, because Heavy has had this one plan he's been doing in the background for 18 years as the kid's grown up. Everything else, he seems very impulsive, right? He wants satisfaction now. He wants revenge now. But the kid plan, he's had hidden away. So he has this other level to his personality. And the other characters find out about this only because Etienne has a spy planted, basically, inside Heavy's haven, and she reports back. So he knows ahead of time before Heavy's going to announce to the world. Next character, let's talk about Masumi, a.k.a. Deconstructa. Now, she's kind of off on the side because she's an atomic with no control over her power. And her power is that if her negative emotions take over too much, she kind of fades out of existence, and she summons an immense, destructive, Lovecraftian kaiju that we didn't. Apparently, this happened and it attacked Tokyo, because of course it attacked Tokyo. But we haven't seen the details of that yet, have we?
No.
We don't know how.
There's been like some rough scenes where they showed Tokyo getting destroyed, and they like talk about how Tokyo is like prepared for, this type of a problem. Like they're the most prepared of the countries, but
so Tokyo wasn't totally destroyed, but we don't know how she was put back in the bottle. We don't know how that ended.
Well, there is a scene where she's in the dark, and like Etienne seems to reach out to her and says like, hey, come back to us. So it seems to be that he like it started to happen, everything was wrecked, and then Etienne kind of like coaxed her out of her depression, which then allowed like
because we
disappear.
know that he's working with her. There's even a scene where something starts to go bad, and he reaches out to her psychically and basically tells her to inject herself with a sedative because she's going to be so upset that she'll kill the world. And she trusts him enough to, not knowing what's happening, just knock herself out. So she's kind of a pitiable character, right?
She's very pitiable, And later we learn that like she has a girlfriend that kind of is a survivor from another, apocalyptic event that happened that like destroyed all of Europe. And this person is kind of like hates her, but gets these like mind wipes from Etienne periodically every time. Every time she can't like deal with her, like, or keep her like, hatred for.
So this is Isabella, and she does love her girlfriend, but if you're around someone who you knew has done this awful thing and will probably do it again, even though she can't control it, you would have this background level of dread and hatred. But her role is to be around and keep Masumi, kind of happy and level. So
and being in a
she's one of the most
like,
important people in the whole world.
And being in a relationship where like your whole life has to be like make sure your significant other is happy. Like it's just not a natural thing, right? Like
for sure,
you can't even have an argument with your. It's not exactly married, but like your spouse, because like if you put them in a bad mood, they're gonna potentially like destroy everything.
It's almost like a domestic violence situation, but not under the control of the person. And so she gets burnt out periodically, and she goes to Etienne and say, hey, can you tweak my mind to make me deal with this again, kind of erase my memory of this? And Etienne's like, yeah, okay, we'll do this again. And she's like, what do you mean again? So we don't know how many times this happened. She doesn't know how many times this happened because it's always erased from her brain. Only Etienne knows. So pretty crazy. She is one of the superpowers, and they all have to kind of know what's up with her, but she's not really part of the
she's
mind
not a decision maker. Nobody's ever consulting with her. Like, what should we do? It's just kind of like, oh God, we gotta.
Let's make sure whatever we do doesn't trigger her. Okay, next,
And it seems, last thing I want to say about that is it seems like if you kill her, that would also trigger the it, or at least maybe it's a possibility. Maybe they just don't know how that works.
I'm not clear on that.
Because you would think if you could just get rid of her, I'm pretty sure Etienne would have like just wiped her out.
I certainly think so. And he would say, as far as a utilitarian calculation, killing one unfortunate girl versus her maybe killing millions, he would just kill her. Yeah. But it seems like it's almost like her existence is what keeps the kaiju from coming out.
Yep.
So either her negative emotions mean she fades away or she dies. Yeah. So I don't know. If she ages normally, at some point she is just going to die. So what's the plan for that?
Yeah. I
think we haven't heard anyone talk about that, but Etienne must have a plan.
Yeah.
Good with Masami?
Yep.
Okay, next let's talk about Jackie. I'm going to say Jackie Magus. I'm not sure if it's a hard G or soft G, but go with Magus. At first, he doesn't seem to be an atomic. He just seems to be someone who's learned how to work magic.
Yeah. But it's clarified later that he...
There's some reveals. Yeah. And if you reread it, it does make sense. That I'm just going to say he has the power, we're told, just to know things.
Yep.
Exactly what that means, hard to say. But magic also... Go ahead.
Seems to be a bit like a Forge type character. Like he knows he knows how you could build anything, possibly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He doesn't seem to have wisdom, though, right? He has knowledge, but not wisdom, per se.
Yeah. And his character he used to be kind of a hippie or a punk as well, but he kind of was disillusioned by reality. And, there's a one saying on certain parts of the political world is that a conservative is a liberal who was mugged by reality. And so he's kind of said, okay, I still have those ideals, but I see that in the face of all these other powers, a hippie commune is just going to get steamrolled. So I kind of have to do right-wing type things, get into bed with the U.S. government just to maintain a balance, what his version of a balance is against these other people.
Right.
So in this world, magic started working when Valentina came in the world, and we learned that kind of her moving from heaven to reality kind of created a leak from heaven. And magic is taking advantage of things from heaven, energy from heaven.
Yep.
And Jackie creates what's called luminous technology.
Yeah, and I think it's a pretty cool idea.
Fantastic. The ideas in this book are amazing. I love them all.
It doesn't totally make sense, like this idea of a leak and how that would be magic, but it sounds better than like, oh, magic is just whatever, right? I like this idea.
As an idea, it all holds together. And clearly, some writers famously just make up characters and kind of see where they go.
Mm-hmm.
But Kieran Gillen clearly, like Onslaught was famously created for X-Men. No one knew who Onslaught was, what he was going to be. Let's just say the name Onslaught and kind of go with it. But we can tell right at the end of, I think, issue 3, Kieran Gillen gave us a timeline of all the major events, public events done by the superpowers between 1945 and the middle of 1999. And everything gets filled in from there. So he knows where he's going. He's not making up stuff. You can see everything hinted at early on really does pay off.
And even this character trait, this turn of events in personality, I mean, you could say like one thing is, this is the disillusioned former hippie who's now, buying into organization and government and whatnot. But I guess spoiler, like we find out that in reality, this character died during one of the world-ending events, and one of his cult members assumed the role. Mm-hmm. The cult member is not an atomic, but what made this character a superpower in the first place was he had built a suit that like channeled power from all the other magicians in his pyramid cult. Yeah, and again, just like Heavy is running a cult, and he's very open about, we're running a crazy sex cult. Yeah.
Jackie, I'm just going to keep calling him Jackie. He runs a pyramid scheme, and he calls his pyramid scheme the Pyramid. Yep. Like again, he's very out in front about this is a pyramid scheme, and he recruits thousands, up to at one point 250,000 acolytes to this scheme.
Yeah,
and instead of like money going up the pyramid, like in your Amways or whatever other pyramid schemes you have going,
it's power.
Magical power gets passed up.
Yep.
So the more people he has in his downline, I think is the pyramid terminology, number of people in his pyramid, the more powerful he gets.
Yeah.
So,
and he says he needs 50,000 to be, world-ending power.
With the others. Yeah.
And at the height, they were at 250,000, and now they're at some lower number. We could talk about that a little bit later.
And that's why he decides, he says, the only way I'm going to get enough people to join up is to go in league with the U.S. government. And he basically wants to be the next president.
Yep.
For right now, he's being, the Secretary of Magic, I think?
Yeah.
So he's building up his pyramid again.
Yeah, it seems like he was trying to do it through the organic method, but he's like,
we don't have time for that.
All this time for that. And in part because one thing that the suit does that the Magus character has is the ability to rate the power level of any atomic and determine if they are like truly superpower or not. And so he had seen Etienne and he said, we're all pretty stable. Like we max out at this amount, but Etienne is actually stronger now than he was the first time I took the readings.
Right. So Etienne getting stronger is another way of unbalancing this delicate balance.
Yeah.
So this is what, again, I'm going to keep saying Jackie says is, wow, that's why I might need to act here.
Yeah. And of interest, like he says, he himself is a psychic blank to Etienne at all times, not just within like a secret place.
But technologically with the mask.
Yes.
And
but
he also
the other
says
characters may have like psychic defenses, but he's not convinced that, a stronger Etienne is never going to be able to break those defenses.
Mm-hmm. And he says that all of the masks he make to his acolytes, if they are breached, they detonate. So kind of a failsafe there.
Yep.
And we'll talk about the swap when we talk about another character coming up, I think.
Yeah.
And in fact, let's talk about her. Talk about her now. This is Eliza Hellbound. She was a magic using human. She was part of Jackie's pyramid. Did you say something?
She never made, I was just agreeing. She's part of the pyramid, but she never made it past the higher initiate range. And I guess I want to say another thing about the pyramid in general, like why does it exist and like what it is. So Jackie has these like different levels where he's like, I'll share secrets of magic with you at different levels. But, the higher up the pyramid you get. And so he has like less and less people with this knowledge. And he said the pyramid was formed in part to prevent kind of people from seeking this knowledge without supervision.
Right.
So he's kind of like, there's a certain number of people that are going to like chasing this power. I'd rather they chase it under my tutelage or like under my microscope.
Which is ironic because he is at heart an anarchist. He wants to be an anarchist, but he's forced to build this amazing corporate structure because he sees it's the only way to protect things, which read whatever you want into that.
Yeah. And so higher up the pyramid, one thing you would learn is, there's hell. You could sell your soul to get like more power.
More arcane
Like we only get our power from heaven, but you could get it from hell.
Yes.
But you shouldn't do that, right? And so he only entrusts the knowledge. Yeah, exactly. He only trusts the knowledge of like how to sell your soul to like the people that are at the asshole level. Or
even that it can happen.
Yeah.
And again, the levels of his pyramid, he's totally straightforward. Is we got the initiates, who's like the mass, and then you move up the higher initiates. And then near the top of the pyramid, the top three levels are the arseholes, who is, like 60 people maximum.
Yeah.
And the step above that are the fucking arseholes. And then Jackie himself is the total arsehole.
Yeah.
So once again, he knows what he's doing. He doesn't like that he has to build a pyramid, but he's being honest about what a sellout he is.
Yeah, he's also making fun of anyone that would like want to chase power to that level.
Yes, he knows who he is. He has self-knowledge.
Yeah.
So let me see. I'm on Eliza. Yes.
Yeah.
She was part of the pyramid, and her boyfriend, who then became her husband, also part of the pyramid.
Yeah.
And he got promoted ahead of her.
Yep.
Her thing
she was apparently like the natural talent, the one that everyone assumed, including Dev, her husband. Like clearly you'll be the one that's promoted, but maybe she was too good, and that's why Jackie was like, I'm not going to advance you.
She actually believes stuff. She is a devout Catholic, and she believes in that religiosity and that kind of ethics. And her husband, he doesn't really believe much of anything at all.
Yeah.
And that kind of guy who doesn't believe much of anything, that's who Jackie thinks he can work with. Where Eliza is dangerous because her strong beliefs means she might act in ways that he can't predict, ways he can't control, ways he can't give incentives to outweigh.
Yeah.
So that's why he gets promoted and she doesn't, which has her very annoyed.
Yeah. One big way this plays out is they talk about her belief in forgiveness, that like a divine force will forgive her. Mm-hmm. And so she seems to believe that even you could commit the ultimate mortal sin, in this case, like seeking power from hell, and God is good and will, if you're willing to believe in that and like commit to that and commit to Christianity, then ultimately your ultimate mortal sin will be forgiven. Whereas Jackie's like, no, you expose yourself to hell and you're damned forever. It doesn't matter. There's not like a path to redemption.
Let's talk about that choice. We had this event that was kind of hinted at for a long time. We eventually see it play out, called the Second Summer of Love. And basically, Big Bad needs to be defeated is the short version. And in order to do this, Eliza sells her soul to hell to get the power to defeat the Queen.
Yeah.
And she knows that by selling her soul to hell, that when she dies, she will be doomed to eternal, infinite torment. And this is eternal and infinite in like the pure mathematical sense.
Yeah.
And this infinity kind of breaks Etienne's idea of utilitarianism, right? How do you compare infinite torment to killing a finite number of people? How do you even do that math?
Yeah, Jackie does there's some great just lines and just thought experiments in this series. And, you got a point where like Jackie is talking to Etienne to try like stress to him how horrible this choice was for her. Where he's like, you could like basically torture every person on the entire planet of the Earth, and it wouldn't be as bad as like what she's done to herself, right?
Yes. So an idea here is that if she actually ever grapples realistically with what she has coming to her, she's going to crack, right? She has to. No human being can ponder that level of infinite torment and not crack. And if she cracks, everybody's in trouble. So the only thing keeping her from cracking is the idea that maybe an infinite God can forgive this infinite transgression. And when she prays, she hears God talking to her, saying she's not alone. That is the only thing giving her hope. But Ruben, what's really going on here?
Etienne's pretending to be God.
Literally playing God. And I guess he has access to her mind in the way that he can send this message.
Yeah.
Saying, God, I'm God, I'm here, I'm with you, I love you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, she kind of wants it, right? Like she kind of wants to know that she's not.
She wants it.
Perpetually
If
doomed.
she doesn't get it, she might kill everyone in the world.
Yeah.
And so he does this unspeakably awful, evil thing. But again, in his calculus, you see why he does it.
Yeah.
Ugh. So that's really something.
Yeah. No, she's truly a tragic character. I feel so bad.
She is. Because again, she tried to do the right thing and she did a necessary thing that has consequences for herself.
Yeah. And she did it to like save the world, right?
Yeah.
So basically the Queen was like this extra dimensional being that showed up and
let's just talk about the Second Summer of Love, 1989, 10 years in the past of this book.
Yeah, and this is probably like 4 or 5 issues. This is like half of the first 10 issues is really just
there's
kind
like
of revealing what's happening.
7, 8, 9, I think, are the ones that really get into the Second Summer of Love.
But this being kind of shows up, and so this is the whole one point of interest is like nobody knows where it came from, and it wasn't really heaven or hell. So this idea of like there only being heaven, hell, and like the linear timeline is sort of broken by this. But
I don't know who her like Marvel equivalent might be. She's kind of a wild card.
Yeah, and so she shows up in Manchester, and she's trying to bring about utopia, I guess.
Heaven on Earth, yes.
Heaven on Earth, yes. And Valentina's super into that. She's like, the Queen's basically like, why do we got to wait till get to heaven? We'll just make it here. And
ultimate flower power hippie. Rainbows and butterflies and drugs and sex and music.
Big rave, yeah. And I was in the rave like community growing up, so I kind of laughed. Like it was super blur. I was like, oh man, we were so naive and innocent, and we didn't want this, right?
Yeah,
this is probably not really heaven, right? Like, which is true, right? Like now that I'm an older person, the idea of like being in that environment, I'm like, oh god, I just want to go to bed, right? I don't want to be up till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I want to get some good sleep and eat some good food. I don't want to be sweaty and gross and having danced all
Val
night.
is totally into it. She's all about heaven, and she thinks this is a great thing. And the Queen's party gets more and more ecstatic.
Yep.
Etienne wants to kill her right away. Like that's if we can kill her, can we kill her? Let's kill her now.
Yeah, because he's like, we don't need to have another thing that's like just changing the whole world, right? Uncontrolled. And if it can make it good, it can make it bad, which his prediction kind of plans out or like is shown to be correct.
There's another political phrase I'm going to bring out. It's another right-wing phrase. It's the idea of you don't immanentize the eschaton. Now, eschaton is like the end times, the end of days, basically like paradise, like ultimate paradise that the world will turn into. Mm-hmm. And immanentize means try to make it happen now.
Yeah.
And that is what utopian anybody wants to do, is make perfection happen now. And there's always the danger that when you try to do that, look at any utopian group, whether you want to talk about, I'm not going to mention political stuff, but you try to go all the way to perfection, bad things could really happen. And this is this in spades. Yep. Because the Queen's ecstatic party gets more and more ecstatic, and then she tops out. She realizes it's really, really good now, but it's not heaven.
Better. Yeah, and
I'll never get to heaven.
Yep.
And just like we talked about the possibility with Eliza, it breaks her.
Yep.
She freaks out. Oh, I'll never be perfect. Starts tearing a hole into hell.
Yep.
And the whole world is literally going to go to hell. Yep. All of reality will be sucked into hell.
Yeah, so Jackie Magnus takes anyway, in this kind of situation, this is back to showing how even as influential as Etienne is, in this kind of a situation, he's kind of worthless. He has nothing to do, right, other than he talks about it. At this point, he was just kind of taking away pain receptors from everybody. So that
his job is to prevent it from getting to this point. And he failed because his wild card was so out of his control, and because Valentina was on the Queen's side.
Yeah. Yep. And so Valentina tries to fight the Queen, but I guess her heart isn't in it entirely, and she can't win, and she gets tossed into deep space. And Jackie Magus takes all of the pyramid members, or I guess all of the inner core.
He takes a certain level of the pyramid into what they call the inverted pyramid, and goes into hell. He's going to seal off this connection to hell.
Yep.
He's burning out. He's literally killing the life force of his hundreds of thousands of followers in order to do this magic.
Yep.
But he needs the Queen to be defeated, because otherwise she keeps tearing it open. He can't seal it up while she's still tearing it open.
Yep. And so this is the situation, right? And he's like, okay, well, we just got to do it and hope that somebody that's back on, reality stops her. And Valentina fails, right? So we've got Eliza, who is, not part of the inner circle. And so she had heard from, they were having marital problems, her and Dev. And at some point he's like, I can't be with somebody that doesn't trust me. And so Dev revealed the secrets of the Arseholes to her. So she knew that this soul selling option was there.
At least possible. And Dev is part of the group going down into hell in the inverted pyramid.
Yeah. To sacrifice himself. Because they have to close the, the tunnel to hell.
They can only close it from the other side.
Yeah. And the idea is they'll just die in hell, but they're dead. So it's I guess a one and done. You're not infinitely tormented, maybe.
Right. And this is when Eliza realizes that the only way to make this sacrifice mean anything, to save the world, is for her to come up with a ritual to sell her soul to hell, become powerful enough to defeat the Queen.
Yep.
And that's what she does.
Yep. And then this is a part that's, we may get more on this later, or maybe it's just going to be uncertain, but we learned that Jackie Magus decides to merge all of the consciousnesses of the pyramid members into a super conscience and shoot it out into space, or is it just the people in Europe that were dying?
When Eliza and the Queen collide and start their fight, giant explosion wipes out all of Europe. In this timeline, since 1989, all of Europe up to Moscow just doesn't exist anymore. There's one tiny little island in Manchester. And so that killed 1 billion people overall. And what Jackie Magus does is he sacrifices the souls. He's already sacrificing the lives of his members to do this magic, but he sacrifices more of them, and he takes those 1 billion dead souls and he merges them into something they call the signal, and he sends that out into space, and maybe these souls can find a new home somewhere. So they're all dead, but they still have this, they're still kind of out in the universe doing a thing, maybe.
Yeah.
They have hope.
He had learned how to do this because at some point earlier, the superpowers had met the signal, which was a super collective mind of some dead alien race that had come to Earth, and then was trying to...
Similar to what we've seen in the Phoenix book recently, where meeting all these dead ghost type people.
Yeah, and but it was trying to bring its society back to life by overwriting the minds of humans. And then the superpowers are hell no. Magus destroys it.
And it does start to kind of feel almost like we've got a time loop situation here, doesn't it? Like maybe the signal that comes back is this group of people that went.
Oh,
that was
interesting. Interesting. I didn't think about that. Yeah, maybe.
We don't really know the details on the signal yet. And so this is still out there lurking. One of the few things that hasn't really been tied back together. So we're here in the middle of 1999. The current situation, we've got Heavy is going to reveal he has a superpowered kid. Etienne knows, but Magus reveals to Eliza that he's really Dev. So back in Hell, Jackie says, "Oh, hey, Dev, I've realized your girlfriend, wife just sold her soul to the devil. I'm going to send you back to be me, to pretend to be me. I need to stay here and die in Hell to seal off this hole." So for the past 10 years, Dev's been pretending to be Jackie until the most recent, or the end of issue number 9, where he reveals to Eliza that he's really back.
And he had also, maybe around issue 7 or 8, he had announced that he was going to join the U.S., right, as like a government consultant, which then flipped out all of the other superpowers, Etienne and whatnot, right, saying...
So we've got all these different ways that the current détente, current stability, is being made unstable. We don't know which of them is going to trigger another one first.
Yeah.
We know there's a meeting coming. Etienne sets up this meeting of all. He goes to Heavy and says, "We need a meeting of all 7 superpowers." And that's how he reveals to Heavy he knows his son's a superpower. So that's going to be a thing coming up soon.
And the way he got that information was pretty dirty. There was like a reporter early on that was interviewing Etienne. And when Etienne kills all the presidents or the political people, he's like, "Well, I got to get this innocent reporter off the table." And since Heavy is like a sympathy for protecting atomics, he's like, "Hey, Heavy, I got to send this person up to you because she's going to be detained by the government because they just killed everybody." And he's like, "Okay, fine, I'll do that." But when he sent her up, he like put a secret, mind whammy on her that said, every night at midnight, like, you'll send me a text message about anything that you learn being on the Haven field. And at some point she like earned Heavy's trust, and he had introduced her to his son and said, like, in 2 months you can write a newspaper article about this. But like before that, she sent a text to Etienne and let him know that this was a thing.
Yeah. So the latest bit is that now Dev, who everyone thinks is Jackie, and Eliza are kind of on the same page. And Dev knows that Etienne is getting more and more powerful. And so these two of them now decide together that they need to kill Etienne. So another imbalance, that these two superpowers are now acting together. Will they be able to take out the one guy who's been pulling all the strings in the background?
Yeah. And it's a little unclear exactly why Dev Magus wants to kill Etienne, but I think the best explanation for it is that he knows that Etienne is getting stronger.
Yeah, I think so too. I was confused. That was the explanation you gave me, and I think that makes the most sense. But he is a planner. I mean, Dev isn't Jackie Magus, but Dev is smart enough to realize that there'll be huge consequences here. So I am curious to find out what his plan is, how he thinks this will work, how he thinks he'll deal with the aftermath.
And another interesting little detail about this is, it's the U.S. government. And I was like, that's kind of weird. But Jackie was British. So I think a lot of people are just like, why would he be helping the U.S.? But Dev was American. That was like a detail that was explained. So it makes a lot more sense that he would have like a national loyalty.
I am kind of surprised that Etienne hasn't figured out this isn't really Jackie. Because we know he can't read his mind, but just the way he acts and speaks, it was made very clear that Dev does not do a good British accent. Right? Because he tries to tell a joke about using British accent, and Jackie calls him out saying, "You can't do the accent." So, and I want to go back. I think he is mixed up when he says arsehole versus asshole. I want to go back and check every instance of arsehole and see if he trips up, because I think he might. And maybe Etienne knows all this already, because we don't know we don't see inside. Etienne is not an open book to us as a character, right? So he may very well know that this is not really Jackie. So he may have other things in plans. It's just a super good book. It's very well planned out. When things click together, it's super satisfying, and you love these characters and you hate these characters. And it's just smarter and more richly textured than anything going on in Big Two comics these days. So if any of that sounds good to you, if that sounds like way too wordy and thinky and it's not what you want in a superhero comic, totally understand. But if you're looking for something with a little more nuance and texture, the Power Fantasy is just the best thing going right now.
Yeah, it's my favorite book that I'm pulling regularly. I've caught up on Absolute Batman. That's probably my second favorite right now. But the stakes are really high in this, right? Like every issue, you're like, I don't know if any of these characters are going to get out of this issue, right?
And
they could be dead. It wouldn't be that
not
shocking at all.
It's not a big two comic. This world might actually end. Like we know the Marvel universe, the DC universe, they'll be back next month, next year. But in an independent book, nobody's safe for real.
And it's framed as like an Etienne kind of centric story to begin with, just in the sense that he's the first character we see. But I wouldn't be surprised if by issue 12 or 14 he's dead.
Could be. We know there's at least 6 more issues to go, and maybe a whole lot more. So selfishly, I want all you people to go out and buy this book. I don't care if you read it, but buy the thing so that Kieran Gillen keeps making more of them, because I want more of this.
Yeah. Another thing
there are trades out there, so you can get the trade paperbacks or whatever, however you want to read it. Very much worth reading.
I'll give you a cool little Easter egg I found too that I'm guessing you haven't seen. And if you've seen it, I'll feel less clever, but I feel super clever for having to do this. So the very last page of every issue is this like wall of legal text.
In multiple languages.
It's like your standard copyright disclaimer stuff. If you look in the English section, maybe, and it's probably repeated in the other sections, like it's maybe towards the bottom. Whoever the editor of this series is started writing these sort of like snarky comments from like the power fantasy is this or that. And I noticed it at one point, and then I went back and looked and I was like, holy crap, there's this like weird meta narrative dialogue that's like,
it's just like little, I have noticed it, little jokes. Like the latest one talks about complaining that, they just changed printers from Canada to the US. So they have to update all the text going forward in all these different languages.
Yeah, so it has like nothing to do with the story or anything, but just a fun little like bizarre
it mostly
thing
just looks
to like
cool
find.
Graphically. It must be a Ryan Hughes graphic element.
Yeah,
it's kind of neat.
And there's one where they're like, "Oh, thanks for nominating us for an Eisner," and but it's too late to vote. That kind of like nonsense. But yeah, I like it. So like an extra thing to not just like gloss over if you're the type of person that would read like the letter page. And I will say like there's a pretty nice like here's what I was inspired by kind of. A few pages that Kieran Gillen writes in most of the issues.
I don't know how to feel about that. There's almost too much. There's a famous interview with David Lynch, the movie director, TV director, the Twin Peaks guy, where somebody says, would you like to tell me about what inspired your work, the meaning behind it?
Yeah.
And David Lynch says, no, everything I wanted to say, I put in the work itself. You want to know it? Read the work. What I have to say about it is not interesting. Just read the work.
Yeah.
And Kieran Gillen's the opposite. He always wants to just talk about everything, which is also fine too. And I do read those things. But
I read the story first and then maybe just read that later if you're super into it. Yeah. But yeah, we're almost up to 2 hours. This is going to be the longest one.
We should wrap this thing up. This has been fun. I hope we got some people to check out a new book they might love. And if not, hey, we understand. If you've already all tuned out 45 minutes ago, I understand too. We still got your download. That's fine. Next week, we have a lot of books coming out next week. We have Exceptional X-Men, number 11, guest starring Eve Ewing's own Ironheart. We have Giant Size House of M, number 1, the penultimate issue in this whole Giant Size Kamala Khan event. We have X-Men Age of Revelation, number 0. We talked about that at the beginning, the one where maybe, I guess we are going to learn how this Age of Revelation is going to happen with Doug going kind of off kilter here. And we also have Imperial number 2, which I got to hit this one.
Yeah, we don't need that. Jason and Ruben could go through that.
So
yes, I will. I will definitely go through that.
I don't know if we're going to give it as much time as we gave Imperial number 1 because there's a lot going on next week.
When is it the start? Because we found out that the Xavier Lalandra like side story is its own little sub story. Is that separate from this? Like, or do we even know when that launches?
There are a couple side books coming up, and it's not this one. It's going forward in a month or two, I think.
Yeah.
And finally, Ultimate X-Men also comes out next week, which I presume I'll be talking about with Jim on the regular Marvel podcast. Although
September
we've had the
3rd,
same thing to say about this book for like 6 issues in a row, so we'll see how that goes.
So it looks like that doesn't even start until after the 3rd Imperial story. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, Imperial's going to be going on for a while, which is fun. We like Hickman. And that is all I have to say for today. I've already said way, way, way too much. I'm curious to see how much Jim edits us down to. That'll be fun. But, hey, Ruben, this has been a good time. Thank you for talking X-Men and the Power Fantasy with me.
And what do you suggest our fine listeners do between now and next week?
Read the Power Fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive.
Or at least buy it. That's what. Just buy the thing.
Just buy
Ruben
it.
and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X-books is their mission, so get ready for the learned edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind.